Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Our special guest, Mr. Kevin Wilson with CyberFusion Technologies, and he has a couple people along, Sammy and Philip, and we're going to get started with today's webinar. My name is Scott Courtier, and I am Senior Technical Sales with InduSoft, and today's agenda, I'm going to give you a very, very brief introduction of InduSoft Web Studio and talk a little bit about our system integrator program, our certified system integrator program. And then I'm going to hand it over to Kevin and the guys, and they're going to talk a bit about their applications that they've done using InduSoft Web Studio, CyberFusion Technologies, and some of the capabilities of InduSoft that they've implemented, some really kind of cool-looking projects and some really nice screens. So again, we will open it up for questions. On this type of webinar, we can't hear you. So if you have any questions or comments, put those into the chat panel or the Q&A panel. We'll try to get to those during the presentation. If not, there's a question section at the end. Also, we are recording this webinar, so we'll put this up on the website in just a couple of days. It doesn't happen right away. Usually happens just 2 or 3 days or so. Also, we're going to send out a follow-up survey. Let us know how we did today. Always looking to hear back from you. On that survey is just a handful of questions. We'd like to know what other topics you're interested in hearing. We do really 5 webinars a month. Topic-based and or co-hosted with a special guest. On that survey, you can let us know what other types of topics you're interested in. Let me go ahead and pull up the InduSoft website here. On the website already, we've got over 150 of these recordings live. So if you go to Support, Video Library, and then Webinars, they're listed in chronological order. And then there's a whole bunch of categories over here on the side, so you can pick the different categories that you're interested in. Take a look at those topics. If you're interested in a topic that we don't have, let us know in that survey. Also take a look at this list because there's just every topic that you can imagine, but I'm sure we haven't covered everything. If you'd like to see a different topic covered or one a little bit different detail, a little different spin, let us know. We're always looking for new ideas. Also on that survey, is a space for your T-shirt size. Let us know that. We'll send you a free T-shirt just for joining us. And also whether or not you'd like to co-host a webinar with us. So let us know. With that, let me get back into the presentation here. And so very, very brief introduction. I'm going to save a lot of time for Kevin. So if you're not familiar with InduSoft Web Studio, maybe just joining us for the first time, got an email from us. What is InduSoft? Well, it's a very easy to use, yet still very powerful, very flexible, configurable, expandable, you name it, and affordable HMI and SCADA software. Many people, why am I even bringing this up? Many people will know us as either maybe a low-end SCADA, a low-end HMI, or a full-blown SCADA software, maybe not realize that we have the power or the flexibility to do either side of that. We've as down here in the bottom, you can see that we run on any Microsoft operating system, including Windows CE, Windows Mobile, Windows Embedded, desktop and server editions of Windows. And a couple of years ago, we actually introduced a product called IoT View, which is geared towards the Internet of Things or Industrial Internet of Things running on Linux or VxWorks. So very, very low-end to very, very high-end applications. End of September, we're coming out with version 8.1, which will further enhance our HTML5 capabilities. Let me get to the next screen here. To talk about the portability aspect of this upper slice, where we can really develop once and deploy on any of these platforms. And this mobility slice here, we're really enhancing this, what we call the SMA thin client, which is the ability to open up a browser, an HTML5 browser, really on any platform, and view and interact with your screen. So we're rounding out the HTML5 feature set should, as of the end of September in the 8.1 release, support 100% of the objects that we have in InduSoft Web Studio. And let's see, what else? Oh, also we're streamlining the licensing system. So down here, this interoperability section, we talk about the drivers that we have for PLCs, but it's not only PLCs, it's robots, temperature controller, motion, cloud-based drivers, MQTT. In addition to that, we also have OPC. OPC UA is making a big push now to surpass what everybody knew as OPC DA, which the OPC Foundation is now terming OPC Classic. So all those interoperability things, we've streamlined the licensing on not only the drivers but the thin clients as well. So the thin clients will support any mix and match number of thin clients. So you don't have to individually license the thin clients. Basically, the number of thin clients you have licensed is the number of thin clients of any of the three types that you can use. And now, even now, and when we come out with 8.1, the licensing is going to support the drivers. Basically, you get any number of drivers you want to put into your project. It's not tag limited. For example, in the past, for a 1500 tag, you used to get 3 drivers. Well, now all the different license levels support as many drivers as you can put in there, as many drivers as your hardware support, and so you can get the performance that you need. So with all of this, this brings you the productivity, the reliability, and the security that you need to develop a full HMI, full SCADA type system. So there's some little tidbits for you going forward. And with that, I want to talk briefly about our Certified System Integrator program. So there's some areas on our website. And I'm gonna, let me just bring this up here. The part on our website, if you go to the home page and over here in the upper navigation, you go to Partners, you'll see Certified System Integrators. You can click on that. And here's a benefits list of if you want to sign up, if you're a system integrator and you want to sign up for our Certified Integrator program, here's where you can request fill out a form and request Certified System Integrator status. Here's all the things that you get. You do have to take a test. We want to prove that you're proficient in the product. There's an online test that you take. It's not an easy test. It's a pretty involved test. Again, we want to prove to our customers that if you're a certified system integrator, you're proficient in the product. Also, up on the website, you're going to find there's 3 different webinars that we've done specifically for system integrators. Here's a link to that. This presentation will be posted when we post the video in a couple of days, the recording of this webinar. And there's also a brochure up on the site, and I believe it's right up here. You can click on it there. You can get to it from our literature page as well, talking about system integrator best practices and using InduSoft Web Studio and what you can do to best create a project and best deploy that for your customers. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Kevin.
All righty. Well, I'd like to start off and thank you, Scott, for allowing us to be part of this webinar. And good morning to you, and good morning to all the attendees out there. We have a lot to cover. Basically, I think the time window here is about an hour, which is not near enough time to discuss InduSoft and some of our projects, so I'll try to get to the point and kind of narrow it down. But I have a team of colleagues here with me. Sammy Campo, who is president of Campo Sheet Metal, and Philip Burke, who is an engineer project manager. We do a lot of projects together. We're housed in the same facility to better serve our customers. So as you'll go through, you'll see the types of industries that we serve, some projects that we've done, and so on. So I guess to start off, I'm sure my colleagues here will agree that I'm a man of few words, so I will try to stay focused, and if I get off track, they'll reel me in. This is unscripted. Everything I do is on the fly, so it's up to my colleagues here to keep me on the right path. So, with that being said, we'll get started. We're a unique group. We are both a SI and OEM. So there's a lot of different types of products and services that we offer to our customers, along with turnkey solutions from start to finish. So we'll advance here to a screen where some of the industries that we serve, but certainly not limited to. The medical, give you a quick example of some of the projects that we've done in medicals for Guidant Corporation. We designed 8 concentrators that will actually apply beta radiation onto what we call a pig, and if you go into that process for a clogged valve, once we inflate, we release beta radiation to the heart to cauterize the valve to keep scar tissue from forming. And we've also done projects for Alcon Labs. In the aerospace industry, we've done projects for NASA and Lockheed Martin, but I can't really go into detail, share anything with that since we're on tight NDAs. Then in the oil and gas, a lot of different projects we've done with those folks.
Hey, Kevin, Scott here. Hey, sorry for the interruption. If you could get a little bit closer to the microphone, a little bit tough to hear you.
Oh, okay. Is this any better?
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah,
okay.
Keep going.
Sorry about that. So hopefully you heard me about the medical and the aerospace. The next industry is oil and gas, and we've done a lot of projects in that sector. You'll see one of our examples today for a seam welder that we did. Certainly not limited to that, and we've done a lot of projects for various companies here in Houston, and we'll discuss those later here. The food and beverage, we do a lot of projects with those folks, everything from Riviana Foods to Dupree Storage and so on custom machines and full systems integration for production. Then we have PC manufacturers. We've done projects for Dell and for HP. HP's been a customer of ours for about 25 years, so we do a lot with those folks. In the recycling plants, we do projects for these folks. At one point it was DrinkStar, which I think they've now been purchased by Waste Management. And then renewable energy involved in that market as well. We've done full SCADA for their technologies for wind turbines throughout the U.S. and Canada. And then we just get down to general manufacturing facilities, the projects that we did. We just finished a huge project for Dyken Goodman, who happens to be the largest AC manufacturer here in the United States. So every one of those projects I just brought to your attention, we utilize InduSoft. That has been a seamless migration for all the projects we've done, and we're also not only a certified integrator with InduSoft, we're also a certified integrator with Omron. And since Omron and InduSoft have worked together in the past, it makes our job so much easier to integrate to these projects that become successful, but because of the ease of use that we have between that hardware and software, it makes these projects that we've done a lot of fun, very successful. But what I have learned over the past, I simply surround myself around the best, that being InduSoft, Omron, and then Sammy's team. So it takes a lot of pressure off of me. Projects become successful, and again, they're a lot of fun. So I'm going to advance here to the next screen. These are the product and services that we offer. SCADA, as I mentioned on the industries page, with the wind turbines for those companies and so forth. Robotics, we're just now getting into that. We have adopted utilizing Adapt Omron. We have one in our lab that we're setting up, and the great thing about the robotics, we can take the InduSoft, and that will be our front-end user interface, and from there we go into the SysMax Studio and the PLC Connect software, the robot, and it makes it quite easy to set everything up and be successful in a short period of time. Software, we offer those services for developing, maintaining, creating, and then implementing. Engineering, we offer full services for engineering, both from a mechanical standpoint and software. Material handling, I've done that for, over 30 years. As a matter of fact, today marks the beginning of the 4th decade today. So today marks 31 years I've been doing this. So material handling has just been something that has come natural that we do for a lot of folks. We also offer to build custom machines. You will see one of those machines today. So anything that someone may need, we can certainly develop it, manufacture everything here at our facility. We have all the equipment to do so. Therefore, we're not relying on any others. Everything we do is totally in-house. We offer turnkey projects, so that way for end users, it's simply they have one turnkey contractor they come to, and then we take care of everything else, from doing the initial engineering right down to the installation and the commissioning, FAT and SAT testing and such. We also offer AutoCAD and Inventor, so we do the 3D solid modeling for all of our machines and systems. So that's part of our package, and that's something we offer. If that's something that just someone needs, it's just a solid modeling, we do that as well. Mechanical fabrication, as I mentioned, we do everything here in-house. Sammy has, if I'm not mistaken, is it still the 2 largest water jet cutting machines here in North America?
Yes, we've got 2 large water jet machines here.
And we have plasma cutters, and we can roll steel that's 3.5 inches thick with no fatigue. So we have all the capabilities, not to mention all the welding and so forth. And then also we offer the control panel fabrication. Everything here, again, is done in-house. So with that being said, we'll actually roll into one of our projects that we had done. This is one of the machines that we have built. It's a robotic 10-axis seam welder machine for oil and gas for downhole completion services. Pretty much what that does, it's a new process for filters, and this particular screen is designed for brown fields and thick oil, as opposed to the other standard screens. And this has taken a good look at all the oil and gas companies, and they're starting to lean towards this screen for those applications. Machine that we built will process 2 different sizes of pipes, 30 feet long, 40 feet long, which accommodates up to 7 different pipe OD sizes, as small as 3.5 inches OD up to 7-inch OD and everything in between. Based on pipe length, we can process either a 12-foot or a 16-foot mesh screen, which is applied to the pipe to act as the filter. The machine has incorporated some automatic screen wrapping processes. So once we do the first, what we call stitch welding mode, where we actually apply the mesh screen to the pipe, we do a stitch weld, and then once that first attachment is complete, then we rotate the pipe, and then we'll follow up with a continuous weld. And this is where we pulse current from a weld controller, and it's a water-cooled high-frequency resistor welder, which we can produce up to 65,000 amps is where we're running at. I'm sorry, 6,500 amps where we're running at, and its AC is only between 6 to 9 volts. On this particular machine, we have the user interface is InduSoft Web Studio version 7.1, and the hardware that we utilized for this project, all that hardware is pretty much provided by Omron. We have 10 servo drives and servo motors and the motion controller, which is the new NJ series utilizing Sysmax Studio. And of course we have the safety functionality as well with the light curtains and emergency stop push buttons, which are all 2-channel. So we'll get more into this. I've got some screenshots of the machine user interface with the InduSoft, and then at the very end of this slide for this machine, we got some video of the machine in operation. So this is the main screen that we have for the operators. It just gives them a general overview of the machine. It's showing, based on their setup prior to this, what pipe length that they're going to process, the pipe OD size that they're going to process, and the screen width. And on the screen here we show various analog signals for the water coolant based on temperature and pressure, the chiller inlet temperature and the chiller pressure and the discharge pressure, so we can monitor how hot the heads are getting based on the weld sequence and the weld schedule, which you'll see more of. And then we monitor the air and the weld head pressures that we apply to the heads. Also, you'll see on this where we have the light curtains implemented, the motors. So the motors, when we have a servo running, it will actually show which one is in motion, and so forth. And then at the bottom here, we have all the tabs, so they can go from screen to screen quite easily with the InduSoft. So there's no lag time. It's pretty much on the fly. So the next screen here is our setup screen. And we have 15 steps when we actually do a process. And the first step is what we call a move to a park position. And at that point, it's like a homing routine, if you will, for all the servos. We do concurrent moves simultaneously, so we increase our throughput capacity time. We don't wait on just one axis to move. And then step 2, we load the pipe, and it detects it on the machine that we have a pipe present. And then this machine also will do automatic gauging. When we get a pipe based on 30-foot or 40-foot, we have a matrix of holes in the pipe. And so when we actually weld the mesh screen to the pipe, we cannot be welding a mesh screen on the pipe at a hole location. Otherwise, it would bend through. So we have laser that assist on the operators on where to position the mesh screen onto the pipe. So that gives the auto alignment, if you will. And then we do the self-centering and the automatic clamping through a couple axes on the back. And then once the machine is set up, we have what we call an automatic dry cycle. And at this point, we'll run the machine down without welding to ensure that everything is fine, nothing crashes, and we've got the right amount of pressures applied to the heads, and we're coming in at the correct angle. And then at that point, we go through, the various other steps from step 8 to 15, and then for each step that's completed, the operator must interface with each step by depressing the yes command or engage and accept. In the center there, we have a viewing window of the process of what's going on, so that way the operator will know at a glance the last step he completed, the next one we're waiting on, things of that nature. And then just to the right of that, that's where the operators select the pipe OD, and you'll see we have various different ranges from 3.5 OD, everything up to a 7-inch OD. Then they also select pipe length. And the cool thing here, with what we created, we have a weld diameter, and you'll see the weld wheels, that there is wear and tear that occurs. And so they'll put a mic on it, and then once they mic it, they know what the OD size is, and then based on usage, obviously they're copper heads, so those will diminish a little, and so they simply remic it. They put in the new weld head diameters, and then the machine will automatically adjust on the fly to the correct angle, so therefore we always get a good contact for the weld. So hopefully I'm not running through this too fast. There's a lot to cover. This screen here represents all the I/O on the machine, so at a moment's notice, at a glance, we can detect status of all the sensors. We can detect status of the light curtains, e-stops, and we also can test the light curtains from this screen as well. Here's a screen that we have for a homing routine. We can adjust and modify the jog velocity, the torque, the target positioning, the actual positioning, and absolute moves. And so we have 10 axes, and we have this functionality for all 10 servos. This screen here is for a manual mode. We display when we're activating one of the axes, we're showing the position and the current jog velocity in which we're running at. Again, we have this for each one of the 10 axes. Not to mention we can actually turn on the coolant pump or the hydraulic pump manually if so required, and engage the heads as well. Here, this is for the WTC. That was the manufacturer for the Watercooled Welder. Here we pretty much select weld schedules. We have 4 different weld schedules. These are based on what we call cooling and heating index cycles. In the video, you'll see what I'm referring to. On that, we can do a continuous weld, or we can do a stitch based on pulses. Now again, as we're doing this, we can display the target positions for each axis. Here is a alarm screen. Will display any and all alarms that may be present, and with InduSoft capability of having this easily configured to display the alarm, which is date and time stamped, and to acknowledge the alarm. Makes it a really nice feature to have. So in saying that, we have a video here. It's about 1 minute and 30 seconds of the seam weld machine. Now I've got this connected through the web, so it may take here a couple seconds for this to fully load, and once it does, then we'll go ahead and activate the video. There we go. So we're good to go. Are you going to take your volume down, Sammy, and I'll raise this up so that way we can focus from here. There we go. Okay. And by the way, turn that down. That would be Sammy Campo. So what we're doing is checking the parameters before we actually start the weld. Okay. Turn mine off. Try to eliminate this feedback sound. So I didn't want to talk while the video was running because of the feedback on the noise. But that machine, we built that in our facility. If I'm not mistaken, when we shipped to the customer, that machine weighed 24,000 pounds. That's very stout. And as I mentioned earlier in the previous screens, that the front-end user interface was the InduSoft, and that we utilized the Omron servo motors and the NJ controller and all the safety to make that happen. So that was a fun project. Moving on, we also did, this is part of a SCADA system project that we did for oil and gas. It's a wire forming and shaping machine that we utilized two axes, heads for both X and Y axes, installed optical micrometers so we could actually measure the wire coming off a die through the forming and shaping machine to make sure it stays within spec. The maximum speed is 300 feet per minute, although they typically run about 160 feet per minute, and we can hold a tolerance of 2,000ths. So the next screen here, you'll see the user interface with the InduSoft, and we go through and on the setup screen, you'll see they enter in who the operator is, and heat numbers and work order numbers, real numbers and weights and things of that nature. And then there in the upper right hand corner we indicate line speed of the machine, and then we also show the width and height, which is supposed to be the default settings. And then down below that we have graphics that illustrate where we're at, and then it will detect as we're moving if we're into a pass mode or a failure mode. And if we do get into a failure mode, we sound off an alarm, and it will indicate at what footage that we were out of spec. So it's a great tool. The next screen here is the setup screen. We actually push all the data. We create reports, push the data to the server via the network, and that way they have a full report. And then the next screen here is typical alarm screens that we have showing that we are out of spec, and it will show what the default target is, and it will show us exactly where we're at. So that was a cool project with the micrometers, and we have 8 other projects pending, doing some more optical micrometers for pretty much the same application. Next project that we'll talk about is for a coffee plant. And this particular application, we actually, Sammy designed a mechanical system that we took a existing blend system and added to it, and at that point they used to only load the super sacks, and the system Sammy designed is now we can also not only load the super sacks, we can do bulk loading for bulk material or for blended coffee, to shipping containers, and a max of 40,000 pounds, and those containers are about 20 feet long, and we load product into 3 different chambers. The way Sammy designed the mechanical, and I assisted with the controls, is that now the end user has 3 different points of loading product into the system. And then from there we put in checkway conveyor belts and load cells on our silo bins so we can keep tight tolerances. And again, I noted we integrated into the new system integrates an existing blend system. And at that point, we're still using some of their blending controls, but the customers come back to us, and now they're discussing that we will probably create our own blending package. And since we have a InduSoft PC in the control room, it'll be quite easily to migrate that in. After we were complete, we increased the throughput capacity by 50%, and now we can produce up to 90,000 pounds of coffee per hour that we can transfer. Customer was so pleased with this project that they have come back to us, and now we're doing the engineering to start producing another production line, this time being for their T-line, and they want to fully automate. So we're going to have a 4-axis pick-and-place machine picking product from 12 different pick points. Each pick point would be a pallet with bags of tea, not the small bags, but a large paper bag. And so at that point, we'll have some vision in there. We've got the motion, again, all that from Omron, which makes it very seamless to integrate with that in the InduSoft. So that will be a fully automatic system. We will be putting industrial PC tablets on the forklifts. That tells those folks what product to grab from their storage, and they simply put it into one of the pick points for the pick-and-place machine. And after that, everything else is automatic. Again, the control room has the InduSoft running, and for this particular system, the hardware, we didn't have any servos on this one. It was strictly BFD drives, and still we used DeviceNet. Still has its place, even though Ethernet and EtherCAT is very popular. Pardon me. But DeviceNet, we're a big fan of it. I've got about 40 manufacturing lines out at HP. They're all set up on DeviceNet. Each line talks to 27 different processors simultaneously and remote I/O, and it worked fantastic. In fact, we spent 4 years out on one project redoing CCM5 and CCM6. So we're excited to get started on the T line, and it's been suggested to us that once we do the pick-and-place machine for this particular T line, then we're going to build another one for the coffee line, so we can try to achieve that 100% efficiency, which at this point in time they can't load that fast, but once we get our pick-and-place machine in there, they will be able to do so. And then, as brought to our attention, they want the servo control pick-and-place machine to be installed at corporate New Orleans, feeding coffee into their roasters. So from there, we got some screenshots of the plant layout. This is the control room. With the InduSoft, it's a full illustration of the production process and how the operators can control and monitor every aspect of that production process from the control room itself. So as we get into production, you'll see live product being put on. You'll see the weights going into the silo bins, not only displaying the weight, but also displaying the level within the bin. You'll see 3 different load locations at the very beginning, lower left-hand corner. We have a checkway conveyor belt there, and that's where they load the bags of coffee at that entry point, and from there it goes into a bag cutter where it shreds the bags, and then from there we transport the coffee to the sifter hoppers for cleaning and so on. Same thing, we have a manual dump station. If they want to take an existing super sack and put it into the system, they can do so from there, and then we can draw product from a portable tank or container that comes in, and utilizing vacuum, we can transfer that product into the vacuum bin and also send that product into the system. And then at that point, we'll load the silos, and then we can discharge into the blend super sack station there where the elevator is, or we can be moving mass product, bulk product, and that could be either blend or bulk to the shipping containers once they're docked. And the cool thing about this is we can be loading product at the top, and we can be discharging product at the very bottom at the same time. So, very flexible system, and that's how we were able to increase the throughput capacity, which doubled. Then, that being said, here they just simply, this is how they start and stop the system. Pretty user interface easy. Next screen is where they actually enter the data. If they're going to do a bulk load on the left, or if they're going to do a blend load on the right, they select the bin, they select what bag size that they're going to be producing, and then they accept it, and then based on number of bags, we'll see a cumulative total pound weight in the lower left-hand corner, and then we tell the associates how many bags are required based on their selection. So it's pretty straightforward. There's no margin of error. We take all the guesswork out. And we do the same thing if it was a blend load. So that would be loading product into the top of the bin, and then we have the same thing here for the bulk or blend unload. Same procedure. They select which product they want to draw from the bin. They select if we're going to send it to the container load station via acronym CLS, either to Bay A or Bay B. And then at that point, they'll enter in how much that they want to draw, and then everything happens automatically. Next screen here is the manual mode. If they want for maintenance to test motors, check belt tension, whatever they may want to do, they have the full capability to do so. And that's for the motor control, and then this here being for the slide gate controls, which we have quite a few. So at that point, they can have PM, monthly PM or whatnot, quarterly PM, and they can check the slide gate operation. So in saying that, I think we're about ready to conclude. This last slide here, simply, if you have any information or you want to visit our websites to find out more additional information, our web addresses are noted, phone numbers are listed there, and again, as I mentioned, we're both housed at the same facility, so we can better serve all of our customers. So, in saying that, Scott, I think it's back to you, and hopefully I didn't miss anything. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to we'll view your question and answer it best we can.
Kevin, great job. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
All right. We did have a question. Somebody asks, what was the advantage of DeviceNet over industrial Ethernet? Why did you choose that? Security, reliability, speed, just use in the industry. Why did you choose DeviceNet?
At that particular time, we did that job, if I'm not mistaken, about 2 years ago, and it lends itself to that. Now, Ethernet would have worked just fine, although then we didn't have the EtherCAT available to us. Now, I would certainly every project we look at doing now, I try to go either CAT, except for when we do the robots. Everything now is based on Ethernet IP. But at the time, the device net, I've done it now for, like I mentioned with Hewlett-Packard, we put in several systems, several lines on that, and it was quite easy since I've done it for so many years. I knew it would work successfully. In fact, we did a fat test at our facility, and we were error-free from the very get-go. And not to mention, the dollars to put that in were less at the time. So now, though, with Internet IP and with EtherCAT based on demand, that pricing structure is coming down. So that was the main reason why we opted to go that route. But like we're talking about the T-line, that's going to be as much EtherCAT as possible. That would be just a better fit now. So I hope
great. Great answer. Great answer. I have a personal question. I was looking at the screens for the coffee line and the trucks. Where do I put in my address to have one of those trucks deliver the coffee to my house?
Well, I'll tell you what.
I think about half of that coffee probably comes to my house.
Probably so, but we'll get started working on that for you.
Yeah. Another question is, looking at the screens, you guys have implemented InduSoft with a lot of the features, the alarms, the trends, reports, etc. What would you say were some of the features that during your integration of InduSoft either saved you time, helped the customer? What were some of the key features?
That's an easy question. I've been working now with InduSoft for about 18 years plus, and also with Omron for we're now approaching 29 years, and so because of that, and because it's pretty much a seamless integration between the InduSoft software and the Omron hardware software, well, first of all, that's an easy integration. But second of all, with the InduSoft as a whole per se, there's nothing that outweighs simplicity for one feature to the next. It's as a total package, everything is easy and very flexible, very expandable, not to mention that, again, being with you all for 18 years or thereabouts, the industry keeps evolving. And in doing so, InduSoft has always been one step ahead of not only the industry, but all the other competitors, in my mind. And because of that, and because of InduSoft's technical support, customer service, marketing, and like Omron, their technical support and their marketing efforts and their engineering, it's second to none. So, I hope that answers the question. Is not one feature that simply stands out to be advantageous. It's the entire package is advantageous.
Great, thanks. Just to let everybody know, Kevin and I did not discuss that and plan that answer, but thank you, Kevin.
Well, I got that coffee coming your way the way I made a phone call.
With that, I'm going to take back presenter status, and Kevin, if you let's see, how do I share my screen here? Here we go. While we were off screen, a little birdie told me today was your birthday, so I went ahead and modified the presentation. So happy birthday to Kevin. Thank you.
I don't see 21 there.
Yeah, it's representative of some higher number. We didn't want to embarrass you. Some of the attendees are saying happy birthday to you as well. So just a reminder, if you have any questions, put those into the chat panel or the Q&A panel. We will answer those. I don't see any new questions coming in. Let me pull up another couple of panels here. Again, no questions. So for everybody who's joined us today, thank you. Kevin and the team there, really appreciate it. Let's see, we're going to put up something else here. Let me go ahead and if you need to get a hold of us, here's how you can get a hold of us. Kevin, thank you so much for doing this. Just to remind everybody, we have recorded this webinar, and we'll post this up on the website in a couple of days if you need to download it or reference something. If you need to get a hold of Kevin, his contact information was up there. Kevin, we're going to go ahead and post your slides along with the InduSoft slides up on the recording. So I'm kind of buying time. So some more feedback in, agreeing with Kevin on the technical support and the help. So Kevin, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Kevin, any last words?
It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the next 18, 20 years with y'all. There
you go. Yeah, us too. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. I don't see any other questions. Kevin, thank everybody there for us, and thank you, everybody, for joining us and the enthusiasm and the participation. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to fill out that survey, and if you've got any topics that you'd like to see, if you'd like to co-host a webinar with us, let us know that. And with that, thank you, everybody, and have a great day.